Alligator blood on the outside. Raced up in the lead. He raced away. He's going to win the Stratty.
Gypsy Goddess in front, and Gypsy Goddess has won the Oaks. Kamantari's flying. Got up. Oh, big win special, K.
That's it, Mugs. The show is on the road. The road to success. Toot toot. We're up and about. You can't really see it, but there's fireworks in the basement here, Bean. It's Group 1 fever because we're back, baby. Group 1 racing
returns.
That's why we set this up. All the other big famous podcasts that you ever hear that you don't listen to because you're listening to the Mugs, they return this week. But we've been in here doing the hard yards, setting the Mugs up for fill-up after fill-up.
Sifting through the quality at Bow Desert and Ipswich.
Unfortunately, yes, we are. Bean, Wing Steaks, you're a bit of a Wings fan, as all of we are.
Yep. Saw her her last 3 Cox Plates, but yeah, pretty exciting. It's a pretty good field, actually. It's hard-ish parts to assess and then easy in others, because a lot of them are coming back and most of them are first up and...
Well, that's the tricky part.
That kind of thing. It's like what's actually ready to roll.
It's a Group 2 race. It's Group 1 field, but it should be a Group 2 race.
Yeah.
Really. Like this time, for this, like you got 3 stayers returning.
Yeah.
Like it's not a grand final.
Hold the phone though, mate, because we're going to go in depth about it.
Yeah.
So we'll save your opinions and thoughts there.
Oh.
The Mugs want to hear about what's happening in Queensland racing.
Queensland is so hot right now.
That's what they want to hear about first, mate. They don't care about Group 1 racing, forget that. But Bean, you've got a point to raise here, and I can't say that none of us saw this coming, but it's to do with the cash money and the taxes. You're the tax man, you tell us.
Mate, you know what's topical when the Courier Mail's posting articles about about the turnover from bookies, so it's obviously a big deal. But what have they said? 30% down on metro racing. I mean, you can't find Eagle Farm on your on any of your betting apps. Even our good friends here, you've got to scroll a little to find to place your bets. But I think it was 30% down on metro meeting turnover and 80% down on country meets, which is horrific.
It's
in terms of betting turnover, it's just no good.
It's horrific,
and it cooks the punters as well.
Well, the
you
long-term
get no
effect
bonus
is
bets. There's
exactly.
none of this kind of caper, so it just doesn't. You're not like if I'm tomorrow and I'm punting, I'm having a Sunday and I'm punting. I'm going to be looking at it going, well, I'm not going to bet Eagle Farm, am I? Because I'm not going to get any bonus bets back. No. So off to Moonee Valley and Randwick we head.
Yeah.
So it's a bit disappointing to be honest, but I guess I can kind of understand it. Bit of the profit squeeze. So
it's kind of like a.
No one wins.
Well,
apart from the government.
Yeah, I guess the only it's a bit of a double-edged sword in a sense that you've got on one end the punters get shafted there, but that the turnover, obviously they don't want turnover to be down. That's brutal.
Yeah.
But the POC tax, that money's gone into prize money and facility upgrades, but at the end of the day, it's only the few % that actually see any of that. And
I think
get the benefits of that?
But
I think Rocky,
if the turnover's down, the tax isn't as much as you normally would get anyway.
I think Rocky, they got, as part of their boost for the economy, got a $3 million jockey room upgrade for the female jockeys, but there's only about 3 jockeys that ride there anyway, so it's meant to accommodate for, I think it was 11 female riders at Rocky, but you look at today, you've got Maddie Wishart, Talia Fenlon and Malia Castle are about the only 3 there, so it just does not seem like money well spent at all.
Well,
I don't think so.
even on that, $3 million to build a jockey change room. Are you kidding me?
I know.
For God, this is where all the bloody prize money goes. How you can build 14 houses for that money? Give them all a house.
I'm not sure in the current economic times you can build 14 houses, but you can probably build more than one jockey room. I do agree with that.
It seems like one of those things, and I think it's a lot of this, what do they call it, administration titles, but the people in the jobs making the decisions aren't necessarily involved with how it really works.
No.
So, yep.
I don't know what's going to happen though. There doesn't seem to be any resolution on either end. The government's not shifting on it, and that's just pretty much, and the betting companies, they're entitled to do what they like. They're basically I'll stuff you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, long-term effect is if turnover's down, it means there's no excess for prize money increases or this or that, and oh well.
It's a cock-up.
It's
I'll tell you what.
If us 3 blokes could have seen this coming 3 months ago when they sort of were announcing this, I don't know how Joe, Schmo and Mary Blow at the top end could not do it. So anyway, calculators.
It was a
that.
tsunami type
we're all
rating
about
towards this.
we're all about making Queensland racing great again, but great time to race horses in New South Wales.
Mate, and it really just our shoulders can't get any more sorer. Really, like carrying this state. I'll tell you what, it's getting tough. It's getting tough.
Yep.
But we'll move on because where we are going to be betting, because we're going to be getting second and third bonus bets back. Spring Carnival time. Okay, it's exciting. It is exciting. And look, we might segue into some more chat that I'll bring up during the week. I think, can't remember who put it out. It might have been our good friend, Mr. Durries. Great fan of the show. G'day if you're listening, mate. But it comes up every year, this chat, moving the Spring Carnival back. Like, I never get where this... No one's thinking about it, so I don't know why you put a piece out on it. But thoughts on that, mate? Because the argument is, like, you know, footy's finished. They got that Christmas back end of the year. Like, do you really need to fill it with racing?
Let's just put it on Christmas Day. That way you don't have to do any family stuff or something. No, it's
not bad.
it's completely ridiculous, to be honest. I don't even know it gets brought up. It's never going to get moved. It's just not going to happen.
I think it's just so we can argue about it too.
Yeah, just get clicks.
Let's move it back and have the horse. What did I say in the group the other day? Let's
45.
have the horses running in 45-degree heat. Like there's a couple of those meets already that sort of like maybe 2 or 3 weeks after, so sort of like late November, early December, every year on the Saturday. I remember last year there was 2 or 3. I turn on the TV at like 9 o'clock in the morning and it's race 4 at Flemington. I'm like, what's going on here? And then I message one of you boys and you're like, oh no, they moved it forward because it's 1,000 degrees Celsius out there. And I'm like, oh, well, fair enough. But you can't have it then.
But the other thing with it too, like the whole idea of moving it back to November and moving the Spring Carnival back to November and December, like we're 10 days away from spring. Like the first Group 1's here. Like, how is it not a Spring Carnival? You know what I mean? Like spring in September, October, November. But no, let's have the Spring Carnival in December and January.
I think he must have forgotten to look at the calendar, mate, or he's got his months mixed up.
You have to shift everything though, because as soon as that ends, then you have like a maybe 2-week hiatus, and then you're straight into the Perth. The Perth Group 1 start running. They sort of start what?
They're late November.
Are they late November? Sort of
18th.
into December, so that'll get shifted back. What are they doing? What is the winter bottom on Christmas Day? Like what? How? You just know.
And the other thing, I guess, the people that are writing these articles, so Mr. Dorries, he's not the only one. Racing.com love this shit too.
Yeah.
Guess what, mate? You're sitting there at 12 o'clock in your media room, aircon's pumping, you get brought your sandwiches and your Coke Zero. You know what we're doing? We have to get to the track at 9 a.m. Melbourne Cup Day to save a table. The bar's not open, but you know what? Hip flask in the pocket's open. So we're on the sauce early. You got to wear a jacket and a pants and a tie because it's a big day. Otherwise, they boot you out.
Yeah.
And then come 11 o'clock, I'm on to my 3rd hip flask. 3 races have been, $400 in the hole. Yeah. The last thing I want to do is to have that 3 months later when it's 75 degrees. You got to let the mugs get in the spring. Because we don't operate in
I say we move it forward a little bit and have it in June, July.
Just maybe winter, because then we can get winter.
That actually honestly would make more sense. I'd be happy for it to move forward rather than move it back. I think moving it back makes less sense than moving it forward, but I don't think you should move it at all if we can just
if it ain't broke.
Yeah,
that's it.
Let's leave it alone.
Well, we'll move. If we could move the Winx Stakes to today, we'd be pretty up and about for it. But talking about it's the next big thing because it is the first Group 1 of the season, and Sydney hosts the first Group 1 of the season. Can't believe that hasn't been a blow up over the years. I think it's always been there. But anyway, it's got us thinking, Mugs. We'll go into our preview in a minute, but we did throw it out there for a bit of a question of the week. Queensland doesn't really have a Group 1 race, does it? Named after a champion horse.
No.
So, boys, open floor. Is there a horse maybe that has the credibility to host a Group 1 in its name? The popular one was Buffering, that was coming through. Mm-hmm. Well deserved, but he's already got a, Group 3?
Yeah. The one that I've got, she's already got a race named after her, but I thought, no, Gold Edition.
Why not two?
Or just have your listed race.
Yeah, there's a couple like that you can throw in, couldn't you?
But I've got like a bit of reasoning behind it, right? Just look at that. So she won 2 Group 1 races, but they were in Melbourne. But then races that she's won here in Queensland, she's won a Ken Russell Classic at 2, a Champagne Classic at 2, then a Magic Millions 3-year-old Guineas, a Gold Coast Guineas, a BTC Classic. She's run 2nd in the Doomben 10,000, 2nd in the Stradbroke. So
all of them.
She's been there, done that. She had that, bit of a rivalry with Miss Andretti, who she was a superstar. And the other thing as well, the end of her career, Stathy Katsidis was on her a fair bit. Obviously, he won 3 premierships in Queensland and passed away in, I think, 2010. So there'd be a little bit of sentimental value there as well. But I thought she'd be a good, even give Queensland a Group 1 in the summer.
And what's the what's the
good.
distance currently of Gold Edition?
I think it's a 1200
So
metre
keep
race.
the 1200.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I think that's the standard distance in Australia. I think there's enough.
But like a race like
there's enough mile races
Yeah.
getting around. I think
Yeah.
1200 metre group
Yeah.
one up here would be a
Well,
screamer.
funny you say that because.
There's a lot of mile races. There's a lot of mile group one.
But what is
We don't have a mile
what
Group
is
1
the
here.
Brisbane Winter Carnival missing? It's a Group 1 mile race, isn't it?
Yep.
So how's this, mate? You mentioned the champ earlier in the race. Who's the best Queensland miler you can think of? Slow hands. Slow hands. Maybe not this week. But hey, I reckon
mate.
this is a great idea. Again, Brisbane Racing Club, Racing Queensland, listening right now. Get your notepad out.
Yeah.
It's time for the big dogs in Queensland, i.e. us, to get disruptive. All-Star Mile, there's a 3-week gap usually to the Queen Elizabeth. Why not go, let's have a Group 1 Queensland Mile, if you want to call it, in between that little window. You get some All-Star Mile horses that miss out, can target it, maybe some that back up. All roads then lead to the Queen Elizabeth. Doesn't interfere with the championships if it's the week before. And just have a standalone Queensland Group 1 in the autumn to say, hey, we're here to play the game, PVL.
It definitely is what we're missing.
And just chuck $2 million at it or something like that.
The only other thing that you could do...
80% down in turnover,
You
I
could-
guess.
yeah. The other thing you could do, like, if you're going to have a mile race, like, I don't necessarily think there's any need to have Doomben 10,000 to 1,200, fortnight later Kingsford Smith Cup 1350, fortnight later Stradbroke over the 1,400.
Yeah,
You could fiddle around with that, and you could have on Tats Tiara Day, you could have a Group 1 mile a fortnight after the Stradbroke and give those horses something to stick around for.
Yep.
Piss the Kingsford Smith Cup off, or you move it to make it a mile and have it on Tats Day. There's a few options, but I don't think we need 3 sprinting Group 1s all for the same horses.
No, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's just the same fields back to back to back largely. Like
exactly.
it's pretty. I mean, most of the Doomben 10,000 runners, or a fair portion of, don't run Kingsford Smith Stradbroke because it's sort of like the peak is the 1,200, and then if you're getting into the 1,400, that's where you attract the milers that are coming down. You get sort of that like Madame Rouge kind of horse that sort of fluctuates between that level. But it's.
But then
definitely
you
worth
could go.
considering.
You've got the mile there to have a lead into a Doomben Cup and a Q22.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe you put the mile at the start, and I don't know, but it'd be good.
Yeah,
to have one.
the Queensland
The
Mile.
Queensland Mile.
Yeah, brilliant idea, really.
The Mugs Mile.
Autumn. I like that idea. Maybe we'd have the Mugs Mile in the autumn, worth the big money, and the one that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
The Carnival, the Queensland Mile. I like that.
Yep.
All right. Well, a champion that has a name already named after her. She dominated 3 in a row. The Warwick Stakes, formerly now the Wing Stakes, won by other great horses such as Samadou, Mwanga. So it's fallen off the face of the cliff a little bit. Not really, but you're right, Ben. You get the horses that are onwards to bigger and better things. Some of the just off-season overachievers, I guess, so to speak. Why not have a crack at it? 1,400 metres, mate. Randwick, what's going on?
I think I have to be with Animo. I don't really it's not a horse that's ever been super kind to me. I think it's probably because it's always $2.50, and I normally my tickets normally confetti because I'm on the one run that it gets rolled. But there's just too many. I think Rail. Where is it this weekend? Is it back in the? Did I see?
It's out 3.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. They're just
that's
leading.
not going to make too much of a difference. I don't think Randwick sort of allows them to round them up. I mean, the only one that is the danger is going to be Forbidden Love because we're bowling along in front and that kind of thing. But I think I'm pretty happy to be with Animo here. I just think it's the best horse in the field. And I think sometimes first up when they're all sort of untested-ish and they're all coming back, I think that's the best way to go. The horse with the best ability and upside long term, and I think that's it. Yep,
Fair enough. Lonro, Winks, Pinwheel, the only 3 to win multiple editions of the Warwick or the Winks Stakes. I think Mwanga can join that list. Won it last year, obviously. Beat Very Elegant. I thought it was a better 1,400 metre field that he beat 12 months ago compared to this. And I just thought there were a few chinks in Anamo's armour. Like, his first up record's not that crash hot. I think he might be looking for a little bit further now in his career with Cox Plate. Like, I do think 2000 is his go. Like, he was vulnerable early in his prep in the autumn when Converge beat him in a Randwick Guineas, etc. You look at Mo'unga though, he's won 3 from 6 over the 1400. He's won 3 from 5 first up, never been out of the placings. Typical Mo'unga trial last time around. Got beat 7.5 lengths, didn't beat a horse home, looked like he didn't want to be there, but no blinkers on. The blinkers come back on race day and just fires him right up. He's drawn nice. That form, only 2 runs in the autumn, so I don't think he'll be overtaxed from the wet tracks. Like, I'm happy to just forget a lot of horses that were up and about in the autumn, like Forbidden Love, for example. I'm happy to pen her completely.
Old.
Yeah, I don't think she'll win a race this spring. But yeah, Mo'unga I was happy with.
Yeah, well, this day 12 months ago, last win for Mo'unga too, Lloydie. So you want to hope that he's come back to the goods. Look, I threw one out to the mugs, you two mugs throughout the week. Sort of got laughed at, but I'm sticking my guns. I'm going Profondo first up.
Yeah.
And reason being, I think they've just set him up this prep to fly fresh. Had an extra trial in there. He's just not as good as they probably thought for that Cox Plate sort of trip. Whereas Animo, it's got to be all guns blazing to the Cox Plate. You're off to start. Like, that's got to be the big fish this prep for them.
Can't see him racing in the autumn.
No. So Profondo, he's got the stud deal waiting as well, but I think they would love to just get a fresh Group 1, first or second up.
As an older horse as
Older
well.
horse, 1400 Group 1 as well.
Yep.
What did he win? The Randwick Guineas, Rosehill Guineas, one of the two?
Spring champion at 2000.
Spring champion.
He won
Yep.
on debut over 1400.
Yep.
As a 3-year-old.
I think you just got to let him run. Like, I just think the shorter the distance, he can just go. Yeah, it's crazy.
I knew it wasn't many, but I didn't realise it was 5.
Well, and that's why I'm happy to back him, and I know this is going to infuriate a lot of mugs out there, particularly one next to me, but I've never really been a Profondo backer. So I'm going to experience what it's like for the first time on Saturday. I'm looking forward to it.
I think I backed him. So he's won twice. I think I backed him all 5 starts. I think I was obviously on. No, 4 starts. I was on one of the wins and every other run. I didn't back him the 2 starts that he won. So obviously he wasn't on first start, but first started and whenever he won first start.
And when I said sit next to a Profondo back, I was talking about him. So I can't believe. Yeah.
He has been back to the breakers though, because we saw him in that Rosehill Guineas where he gave Hugh Bowman, Huey had to have 2 shoulder reconstructions because he pulled that hard the whole way. So back to school, he's learned to settle. He looked like he settled in his 2 trials, and he's in my top 4. The other one, like a horse like Jewess, for example, I think obviously she's a superstar. She's not won a Group 1 below 2000, so this is sort of her run just to have. She's only had the 1 trial, but watch for her late because she goes to a George Main at the mile next start, and I think it was might have even been the George Rider. She was a moral beaten in the autumn before she went and won the Australian Cup. So she might find a dry George Rider in a fortnight and be really hard to beat if she's hitting the line for a nice 3rd or 4th on Saturday.
And all roads
she could just win. Some horses like that just win.
She could blow away.
They're just like it was $17, $4 the place. It's a pretty good bet anyway. So
Excellent.
Exciting.
Well, that gets the Tiggles fancy, and of course, Mark,
Blood's pumping.
we'll get a bloody little leaderboard going. We're
They might even keep track of it this time.
There's something new for us.
I think what usually helps with keeping track of stuff is if I'm winning it, because I'm the one that
then
keeps
you
track
remind
of
us every 3rd day.
Well, that's it. Maybe that's the GO this time around. That if one of you two boys are leading it, if you just keep nagging to chuck up the results, I'm sure I'll get around to it. But boys, we've got to come back to the big track, really. We talk about Rosehill, Randwicks, Flemingtons, Caulfields. It's Doomben. It's bloody Doomben.
We're back again.
We're back at Doomben. Now, you say that, Bean, and I know you're not Doomben's biggest fan, mate, but we go back 2 weeks ago. Bean's Bazinga there, Enterprise Mia in the last, kicking home and winning. Moz's must win, Torakiki Lad, saluted last week like never in doubt. Lloydie's living, breathing. The pressure's on you this week, son.
It is.
Don't worry.
I think we've got it though.
Well, that's okay. That's the confidence we need to have. But Rail +3, +2, sorry.
2, yeah.
Probably a soft 5, I'd
They
say.
said soft 5. It's supposed to be hot on Friday, so
Oh.
do you get to good or does Barry leave the sprinkles
Oh,
on
Barry leaves the
Friday
sprinkles
night?
on. I think they're sick of the whinging about Queensland rock hard tracks, so they just keep this one soft all
Just
year
turn-
round.
Don't forget to turn the sprinkles on before you go.
But mate, the track that you just seem to hate, I think you love to hate it now because you actually go alright at it.
Yeah.
Well, from 2 weeks ago, we don't keep results beyond that, so we're fresh in the mind, mate. But races 1 to 4, look, we'll scurry over because I know there's a few horses you're interested to see.
Yeah, there is. There was the Moral Beat in the Sunny Coast. They come out and bring him at the $1.02 or whatever it was last up. Caribbean King goes around in the first. Pretty keen on, obviously. I mean, Go Mugdji. You can't really back it at $1.50. You might be able to throw in a few multis, but it'll be race 3 probably has a mortgage on that. But race 4 is going to be good. It's got Lascebus Zarcebus, sorry, and then Otya, and then also Contrition. So the 2 Waller runners take on the pretty smart Heathcote runner that I was on a couple of weeks back. So the tips will come out on the Instagram, and we'll see how I've decided. But I'm actually keen to watch those 4 races from more of like a form going forward perspective. I think they'll be pretty interesting.
It is, and it's season starts. Good one.
A couple
season,
of
so
sort of
it's-
like horses that, particularly the Waller runners, because he
Well,
does this a bit where he brings them up here, goes bang bang, and then next second they pop up in like a Group 2 in Sydney, and everyone's like, "How did that thing win at 30s?" He was racing in Brisbane
Yeah,
2 weeks back,
that's
and
right.
the form generally holds up.
And
so.
you'll hear Ben talk about it next week as well. But
Rage.
mate, it's pretty much grand final week for the Chris Waller handicap. 2200. They're all back in town. The big players.
Yeah.
The Mugs trainer Willie Holbert's got Stabai in there as well. And
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
what do you rate its chances? Ex North Queenslander, mate.
Yeah.
Anything to add or?
No, it'll roll forward and give it a side. It was pretty good first up, or last start it was, I thought. And
so.
it's a horse that's always taken a few runs to get fit, so I think it's probably had 600 or 700 its belt now. So, not a bad little each way ticket, I wouldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Too bad none of us are that smart to go each way. We just go for the win.
Yep.
But Lordy, race 3, Go Mugdji. I know you're in the fan club. Everyone's in the fan club now. Just trying to find it. It's an open handicap. So I guess the plan would be if just comes out and wins, rating's going to go up. What could potentially be next? Have you heard much chat around what is next?
No, I haven't actually. I would imagine. I'm assuming that a race like the King of the Mountain would have to be what they try and target with him, because I'm pretty sure he's Queensland owned, Queensland bred, Cullen Hills. I'm pretty sure that's here somewhere. I don't know what they do with him. I don't think he's up to a Group 1, put it like that.
Could be the. Well, do you have to be? You don't have to be a cutest horse, do you?
I'm not sure. I thought it was just Queensland bred.
Because if he's not a cutest, even Magic Millions horse, that could be what they're thinking. Because if you get a wild card in without having to be qualified,
Well, it'd have to be looking at even a Wheatwood trainers from Toowoomba.
yeah,
That would probably be the ideal race for him.
while away though.
Not really though. Get back run on T-bar over the 1200.
Yeah, true.
I'd love that recipe in a big field as well.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, this will be his 5th run, sort of this time in.
It's probably paddock after this anyway.
Yeah, paddock, and then maybe freshen him up for the summer.
Yeah, can't really. There's some good horses in that race too. So it's obviously. I mean, Tumbler Ridge has been competitive. I guess Open Snow Zone the same. So that's sort of the measuring stick at this stage. I like one in race 1 though, boys. I'll start us off early and a bit of a spoiler. It might get more involved. It won't, but anyway. Water My Friend. Be Water My Friend. 2+ on board. Trainer's favourite. Mickey Park. Don't know if his name's Mickey, but shout out Mickey if you're listening. Just come back super, I thought. First up was absolutely hitting the line behind some good ones there. I've just lost my notes, but
Rapid response.
But then 1 second up, not a centre mine on it. I think I missed it. It went around at a Doomben early in the day. But $6.50 is not a bad little price in race 1. I'm taking on Caribbean Queen, mate. Just
King,
hoping-
mate. It's a king.
It's a queen, mate, because it's a cat. It's an absolute cat.
Yeah. I'm just keen to see how it goes in town, whether all the spruiks warranted or not. That's more what I don't know if I'll have my heart earned on it, but interested.
Yeah. I got one in race 4. I'm going to tip on there in that 2200 metre race. I thought Oti Ra was the bet there. It was second behind a pretty smart one, I thought, in podium. 2 starts to go, quick back up from the mile to the 2000, and it only just got the job done. but carried 59, drops 3.5 kilos, gets Ben Thompson, and I think there is a bit of speed in the race. You've got Stu by there, you've got Windermere will be handy. There's another one, Bump and Run will go forward as well, so I think it'll set it up nicely for Otti Ra to come over the top of it.
You almost just hope that a horse like that wins, so you hear the pronunciation on TV, don't you? So you never get it wrong again.
Otti Ra.
Just remember, when they win, you call them whatever you want.
That's right. Go, baby.
All right, race 5 there, Mugs. So we're going to the 1,200 metres, which is a nice little trip there. And Duralina Bell for the Smith Yard is your favourite at $3.20. Wouldn't be a race meet, though, without a TJ Gollan horse and a Robbie Heathcote horse hot in the market. But, Bean, I think you're pretty keen on the favourite in this one.
Look, it's
Shocked me.
Shocked me, dude.
Mate, trust me, it gets a heck of a lot wider after this. I think this is the only fade for the day. But 10 starts, 4 wins. Had a nice prep previously coming into this, and then it was a 6th behind Yukon and Pizarro. Pizarro, this is down south. It's pretty smart.
Yeah.
It does need probably a bit more give than the soft 5, so please sprinkle us on Friday night would be perfect. Obviously the gate's a bit of a query because it does get back a bit from barrier 2, but look, we saw Jimmy Orman yesterday. He gets pretty creative in terms of he puts horses in the positions where they can generally win, whether that's their potential racing pattern or not. So he offsets the gate for me, and I just think, the form that it's got going in, I mean, if you can catch self-indulgent, you're an absolute wizard. And Deep Sea was a bit the same, to be quite frank. And there's not sort of too much else there that's concerning me too much. So happy to be with.
Well, before you jump in, Lloydie, I'm happy to try and be a wizard. Because I was all over self-indulgent first up, and let's just say jockey change. Hopefully can use the barrier this time, and I think second up polish, jump, lead, win. Don't worry about catching self-indulgent. That's what the other jockeys have to do on Saturday there, mate. I'm on again, unfortunately.
I don't know what price it is, but In Awe of Me, the 5-year-old from Matt Dunn's stable, Brody Loy on. 2 starts ago.
$16?
16, yeah, that's not a bad price. First up was behind Go Wanji in a class 5. Got beat 6 lengths that day, but we're talking, Go Wanji's $1.50 in an open class.
Spruiked
him, yep. Last start got beat a Pimple by Jamil and Bolt. I don't know how good Jamil and Bolt is. On its day, it was a good horse, but it was actually a pretty good run. It got a long way back, hit the line nicely. Goes up 0.5 kilo. That was in a benchmark 70. This is a fillies and mares benchmark 75, so pretty similar grade, but goes back against her own age. I just thought maybe, each way, nice price. Not keen.
That Jamelian Bolt.
Yeah, that was the one. It was it was a weak race, but she's good enough on a day.
Yeah.
Sauce.
Yep.
Race 6, we'll move well the hell away from there. BM80 conditions, the handicaps are back.
Yep.
We get the mile, the famous Queensland mile. The
Mugs Mile.
The Mugs Mile, mate. And look, it's probably a pretty decent addition to the Mugs Mile because you got a horse like Bargannon, which won from absolutely nowhere and no one ever had it on top. So don't call in and say that was free money last week. So the market hasn't responded whatsoever because Bargannon's a $13 chance in this race. Yep. So Barnabas is hanging around still. 55th start of the prep. Who knows what's going on there. But being slow hands or barrier 1, it might get the softs, but it gets the mile. Queensland's greatest miler. Second up, $31. Not a bad little price. Is it sucking you in?
No, I did consider it, to be honest. I think if there was rain around today and tomorrow, I'd probably be on. But look, I'm sticking with Jacana. It was in that sort of blanket finish last start. The query is obviously first go the mile, but I think it probably should get the trip. We get Aiden Thompson. Congrats to Aiden. Outrode his claim.
It's 2 kilo.
A 2 kilo claim yesterday, I believe. With a smart winner that knocked me off, you bastard. Anyway, we'll move on. Best of luck.
And then didn't win the one that everyone was hoping you would win.
But
Pluto credit.
Look, there's less pace here than that last race. I think more than number 1 will sort of be sitting off him. I just think from the barrier, be able to sit sort of 1 out, 1 back, and if the leading pairs get away, he'll be on their back, and I think can knock this field off. $6 is sort of probably about as skinny as I'd go with it. If it gets to 5s, I'd be a pass mark. But I think it's a fair bet in this race. It's pretty open though.
Yep. Probably crucify me for it, but I actually thought Aussie Nugget was a good run first up for the Tony Gollan stable behind Bargannon and Jacama that day.
It just needs one more run. I reckon
Quite
next start
possibly,
will be on.
Well, that works out well because that'd be Lloyd off, Moz on.
Yeah.
Third up.
Yeah.
That's
Perfect.
that's
That's
the
the
huge
recipe,
change.
Yeah, but I mean, you go back like 4 starts ago, he's run 4th behind Regalo Di Gaetano in a listed race in Adelaide. Like he hasn't won for, I think it was 80 weeks, so January last year. So it's a while, but what does Tony Gollan do best with horses that haven't won for a while? They win for him. Maybe he does need another one, but I thought $12 or $13 off a good first up run was enough to be with him, and he trialled well too.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. It was a good run.
Good run.
3
Being-
kilos off.
Nothing to add to you, mate. I'm going with Jacama as well. Yeah, super consistent. Loves the Doomben. 1 from 1 at the mile, even though that was a 1666 that you switched. That's how they get you the old devil's number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Bargain on. Yeah. Against the favourite. Yeah.
I just thought it was too skinny. Get the idea. I mean, it could be a superstar, but 60 kegs, no thanks.
What's all I thought?
It's the
Seems
weight.
to be a bit of a fresh horse too, going through the form.
Yeah.
Got as analysts here sitting at the host desk, mate, going through the form.
Yeah.
Race number 7, boys. We're moving through because it's a good days of racing, and we've got the Night Mariner Mile. Is it the day today for Night Mariner? What do we get now? $2.60, $2.70.
Ridiculous
Lloydie, mate,
sums.
can I convince you about Night Mariner today? What are you doing for me?
The
What
thing
are you
I would
doing?
convince you with Night Mariner is this is the second leg of the quaddie. Leave it out.
Oh,
Yeah, I gave a big push for Merrimee on the podcast the other week about a black booker, and I think this is the perfect race for her. Yes, she's got to come from barrier 17 or
coming
17.
from Sydney, mate.
Yeah, but when she won that 13.50 over at Doomben, her last win actually on the 5th of February, she came from last and looped them and won by 2.5. Second, a Gypsy Goddess over the mile at Eagle Farm at the end of last prep, beat 3.5 that day, but Gypsy Goddess is a Group 1 mare. First up, second to Hatchet. Hatchet's come out and won by 3.5. Third in that race is Argyle Pink. She only beat a length yesterday at Ipswich. Her trial was really good, I thought. James Ormond goes on again. I'm keen.
Oh,
There's one stable that I'm a bit of a fan of late, and that's the Curry stable. I'm with May Villa Ruler here, mate.
we need a Benny, Marky. Send the boy a t-shirt. Come on,
mate, big fans.
come on.
Look, I gave it. I believe it was scratched last. It was in with
They scratched it from Toowoomba and they scratched it from Brisbane and the Gold Coast, I think. I think
yeah,
it was 3 tracks.
Yeah, it was scratched at all 3 tracks. Yeah, because it was in the last with Chatty Lady.
Yeah.
That's right.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
So it was out, but it was impressive. Start before that T-bar, 4 wide round the turn, up the hill. There's never easy at all. KWT, tick, Curry stable, tick. Does get back, but it's drawn 8, so I think from there he can probably be like no less than 3 or 4 pairs back. And I think if Merrimee gets posted, those 2 will be hunting them down. I think Mayville or Merrimee are the 2 big run-on chances, and this is the $16.420. I think it's the right way to play this race.
What's your go-to curry?
My
On
go-to,
a Saturday night, yeah. What's your favourite?
curry? I normally like a, what's it called?
Don't know. You're ordering it.
Not butter chicken. It's one of those like
Korma?
It's not one. Yeah, like a chicken
Tikka masala.
chicken korma with
Oh,
a bit
yeah.
of as hot as it can be, basically.
Bit hot.
Yeah, I
You're
like
spicy
it.
fella.
I like it spicy.
Oh,
Yeah, the old curry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look like a lamb madras.
Lamb
Well, lamb
madras.
madras goes right.
Yeah.
I find when it gets a bit dry,
Cheese and garlic naan with that one.
And
yeah,
spinach
it has to
and
be
herb,
cheese
spinach
and
and
garlic.
herb naan as well.
Spinach and herb. That's the only veggies you get in all week,
And
mate.
then how do you get those sort
The
of
puppet
those not the puppet ovens, the super bright chicken that they do, the old
Oh.
you know that's
Oh, yeah,
been rubbed in-
tikka, chicken
been
tikka.
rubbed
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a little
dirt,
bit
and it looks like it's about to take off the
Flaming.
space.
Well, it
don't wanna-
goes. It looks flaming going down, and
Yeah.
it comes out flaming.
Yeah, I
too,
don't want a few of
I'm
them
sure.
either. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
I'm pretty keen to bet at Toowoomba now on Saturday night. I reckon.
I think I'm
Just
going
around
up
dinner time.
actually if anyone wants to come.
To
So-
Toowoomba.
Yeah.
All right, you keep that to yourself. I
Yeah.
think you might get mugged out there, mate. Literally. Yeah, who am I on? I'm on Night Mariner. That's who I'm
You're
getting on. Oh, this is just.
I almost
this
hope
is ready to
it
go.
actually wins for
This is
you
ready to
and
go.
just for the team generally, because it's. Otherwise, can't have it. But yeah. Go.
Well, look, this is the case, right? Okay,
Uh-huh.
well documented, long layoff, injured, blah 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 blah. Won't bore you with the details because we've done that. So that prep, last prep, that was just the practice prep. All right, let's just see what kind of horse we've got, and we'll assess from there. Comes back, he's back. All right, that last up behind Enterprise Mia, Beans Bazinga. Absolute checkered run down the straight, but was hitting the line really, really well. All right, and now gets back to the go, which is the mile. Which, if you go back through the form, that's the best racing this horse has ever done. A lot of seconds in that form. Don't get me wrong, but yes, I think today is D-Day for this horse.
It could
Marry
be a
me,
little
Barry
bit
17. Thanks.
like Aussie Nugget in the sense that next start, like one trial, one run over the 13, 15, now straight to the mile. Does he just want one more?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Let's have another $2.70.
Yeah,
That's right, mate. Otherwise,
God.
yeah, there's
That's
no
what I mean.
Jeez, there's no room
I
there. At
can't
least you're
have
getting
it,
$13 about the
there's
nugget.
no butter chicken. Otherwise,
No.
put it that way, mate. I'll be getting a nugget.
You might get a papa dub.
Nugget in the jocks, I tell you. It'd be crazy. All right, now, boys, it's almost becoming a weekly segment on this show, and I've forgot the merch this week, but it's time for Alligator Blood Update. Oh, I'll tell you what, Alan, you're close. You're close to coming on. The latest, all right, the latest. So, in a great turn of events, and I can't keep up about what we updated you guys with last week because there's an update every single day about it. But the latest is now an international campaign beckons. And you know what? How do you get a horse overseas? You've got to pay a lot of money. So you know what we'll do? We'll sue Racing Victoria for $10 million to make this happen.
Yep.
Dubai, I've heard. Saudi Arabia, I've heard. Not sure about Hong Kong, because I think they're a bit etchy with Aussie horses coming in. But Japan as well, on the radar. What do we do with this information?
I don't know. The thing that I couldn't believe was that Tuesday morning, track work at Moonee Valley, Alligator Blood was one horse that was there galloping under lights with the other horses that are nominated this weekend. So, I don't know. I don't know what you do with it.
That just
Weird
makes
too,
no
because-
sense at all.
No. Like, sure, you got to let the horse... Like, if you've got the horse, it's working, but why are you having it at the breakfast with the stars type thing? Like,
But they're advertising
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
Well, that's what's even
that's
weirder.
what I can't understand. So, you know, a race like... I don't know, what's his best trip? Is he a miler? Like, Alan seems to think he's...
Probably
Couldn't win
mile.
a Japan Cup, but like you've won a Stradbroke. I thought even, you know, a good solid run 1200 probably. But like a race like the Elquas Sprint, we've had a bit of Queensland representation there before. Buffering obviously won the race. Maybe a race like that could be his go. I don't know. You're not going to beat Baid at Dubai
No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
in a 2,000 mile. Like you're not going to beat those sort of horses there. But
No, you need to. Yeah, I honestly don't know what they're doing with it.
yeah, I don't know.
I can just offload it.
Well,
Just
it must be.
get it racing here and have
Well,
like some sort of
Wouldn't
agreement
you
in
just
the
say,
background that
wouldn't you
there's
just
a
say
prize
let's
money
go to
split
the
or
Magic
something. You
Millions Cup, the $1 million one? Like,
Well, it'd be more.
you'd get a King of the North slot. He's Queensland. Oh no, he's not trained by. But surely they just go, all right, sorry, gay.
Well,
Yeah.
well, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Billy here.
yeah, Billy, good, mate. Getting
I'm
getting
not
one
sure
back.
about that.
Getting one back on the big guys. But well, Magic Millions, regardless of the Toowoomba race, Magic
Yeah.
Millions is Magic Millions'
He was
horse.
a horse. He,
You know,
he won the Guineas
just
and then lost it.
Just don't bloody take any drugs on the
Yeah.
truck getting down there this year.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's just as good much money there than what you get overseas anyway. I would have thought.
Yeah.
What are these? Unless you're going to like the big Saudi Arabia bloody
Yeah.
blood money meat or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But anyway,
That Pegasus World Cup or
that's the
something
one
like
they
that.
call it. Speaking of mate, well, speaking of Baid, not sure if you watched it, Mugs, or $1.35. I think he started at, which is pretty bloody generous. Looking
Yeah.
back, 10 from 10 now.
Yep.
I don't think there'll be any Australia trip on the cards, but some runners from that meeting, Lloydie, popped your cherry of interest, so to speak.
Sure.
Mm.
Yeah, Dover Legend won the Grand Voltager over there last night at York, the Ebor Festival. New Melbourne Cup favourite after that. He was already sort of $15 or $16 chance. He's a 3-year-old, so he'll be that cross-counter, rekindling sort of fit. Owned by Bono, Classic Legends owner, so it'll be coming. I think it goes into quarantine in about a month. But then it's nominated for the Caulfield and Melbourne Cup, but it sounds like it'll just be the one run in the Cup. So Melbourne Cup, that is. Yep. So it would be the
carrying
same.
air, like what?
Probably, yeah.
Well, they probably won't run it for that reason then if it's going to get lightweight in the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
I think, well, weights come out, I think they're the 2nd of September, the weights are announced, so that win will probably hurt it a little bit, it might not, if it was going to get 51, it might get 52 after that, but that race as well, I don't think we've seen Sir Lucan last year, it ran, might have run 2nd or 3rd in the Grand Voltager, and then came over, a few Cracksman's won it, obviously he didn't come out, but that's sort
Some
of
big names though.
Yeah,
Good set.
Sir Lucan was spec'd at odds too in the car.
I
as
think
well.
that
There was a
backed
fair.
him, he got walloped, but
Well, the other one, I think the E-Ball, if you listen to this on a Thursday, I think tonight.
Yeah, it's either Thursday or Friday night.
So
usually.
that's that's the idea, Muggs. You go through, find your Melbourne Cup noms, go through to see which ones are nomin, and if they put in a sneaky good run,
I did
bookies
actually
never sleep though, but you might be able to get something.
I don't think any of us were obviously smart enough. I reckon it was in one of our chats that I sent through about a week or two ago saying this horse is nominated. It'd be interesting to see this Deauville Legend. It was $9 in that market when I sent it through. I found the screenshot there on my phone. It started $2.50 last night. I was like, why did I have
Did you
something
win
else?
like a champion? I haven't watched
One by 3. Like,
Oh wow,
Yeah.
so it's pretty
pissed
convincing.
in 2.5. Yeah, it's pissed in.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a sad way to end that segment.
I was just like, I was like, I
fella.
definitely said this to everyone about 3 weeks
fella.
ago.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Woody.
All right, well,
Future's king.
Future's King, mate.
They call them futures.
Well, race 8, we might have bump and run go around here. I haven't had a look at Hits form, but we've got a Class 6, set weights, race numero 8, and we're going over a handy little distance there of 1350. So you probably won't see any Melbourne Cup hopefuls here, mate. But Rubamos could maybe turn up in about 6 months' time to a 2200 metre staying handicap here at Brisbane because it's an absolute joke of a favourite, and you're getting $3.90 to find out that it's a joke of a favourite. And coming for it, Lloydie.
Yeah, the money's on.
People keen on it, like, not us, but like on the socials, people keen on it last start when it ran awful. They're like, it'll get its own way out in front, lead them off, and should be pretty hard to catch.
So, Lloydie, after you've just gone Control-Alt, delete on your race 8 notes about Rubamos, what are you landing on?
Maybe I'm sick. Safe work. One more time.
Yeah.
What I like.
You could back it off last start, surely.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like, I've been on its last. Well, I've been on it pretty much every run. Second Uncommon James. We haven't even spoken about that.
I know.
The Queensland horse.
Just got
Nearly broke Miss Andretti's track record too, I think. It was
something like that.
a couple
So
of 0.07 seconds or something.
I mean, Safeway beaten 2 lengths, 2.5 by him. Then it beat Garibaldi home. Garibaldi ran second to something that's in snow zone, I think. Beaten only a length or length and a half, 2 lengths behind Windside last start. I mentioned when I made him the best of the day a couple of runs ago that he usually is better deeper into his prep. So he's 5th up on a 7-day backup, out to 13.50. They're all ticks. He drops 4 kilos as well. So maybe today's the day.
Mate, Uncommon James form has to be the greatest form in the country right now.
Yep.
Really. I'm with Safe Work too, mate. I can give you some more stats if you want.
Yeah, go on.
I've done my homework this week.
Good.
Forget Uncommon James, mate. Windside form.
Yeah.
That's the form we keep forgetting about. You got it right here. Last start, Tessark went around at 54.5 kilos, goes up 3 kilos this assignment. Safe Work went around 58.5, goes down 4 kilos this assignment. So that's well, you do the math, mate.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, you get the math done, you've got your gift, and that's
Yep.
Safe Work in race 8.
Yep.
I'm with Tessark. I'm with the former. I was with it last start.
7 kilos, sweet
7
mate.
kilos, mate.
Yeah, I know, but
I
I'm
know
still...
you're pumping the 15s in the gym, mate, but fuck yeah.
Yeah, but I still have to just be with it on its last start.
That's
Right?
right,
You can't jump off after that.
Forgot you're sponsored too.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, mate. I got to lift the Tulmamathi with me, mate. But it's super impressive last start. I think it just peaked on the run. I think it's 3rd up now, drawn in, gets a better run in transit, should be closer. I think the step up sort of suits, and I just think it wins again. It was about, over the 18s, it's about 11s now, so they're coming for it. I think it starts single figures.
I think we're bang on the money. Hopefully we got the right form line, and yeah, you're getting $6 for safe work and 11 for Tessa.
I know there's a swing and stuff like that, but I still think it's
great
value.
price for both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I need 60s about safe work after the 4 runs this prep, but
Benny 2 bets. Here we go again.
Yeah.
Well, you might get it back in the last, Lloydie.
I don't think so.
Well, this horse pulled her pants down to see our manhood. Went down at $1.50 officially. I think it was shorter than that and it might have blown out a bit. $2.30 you're getting. Desert Dreamer beat it and you're getting triple the price. And
Desert Dreamer goes up a fair bit in weight, doesn't it?
gets the claim, AJ's claim. I
Still
think it's got a kilo swing there, manhood, in its favour. But still, barrier 14 again. It's the tale of wide barriers for this horse.
Yeah, it needs to draw, doesn't it?
Does it win this week then? The Get Out Stakes, boys. Race number 9.
No, it doesn't. I've gone a fair bit wider here.
Oh.
This horse is not as wide as you, I don't think, but this horse is pretty hard to catch. Big Bad Bruce for the Golden Yard. The key here is, I mean, he's been going downright awful the last few starts, but second up is his absolute only go. If you're going to back him at any point in the prep, second up is the only time. And normally that's when you don't back a horse second up because they often are flat second up, but not this horse. It's won twice this track and distance. It just sits off from barrier 13. You got Maloney booked. I think that's a fair push that it's going to go okay, and this will just be the TJ blowout in the last. I think I just have a feeling they've set it up for this. So $31, $7.50 to place. Get amongst it. There's value to be had here, I think.
There is value to be had. I think I don't have any solid opinion really on the race. I thought maybe a horse like For My Annie, but I'm just worried barrier 17 again, 61 kilos. So
Manhood's poison though. You agree with that, don't you? Well, not really.
No, I don't think so. I think it's too short for me to want to back, but I think if the
Cream should rise at the top.
you sort of can have it in your quaddy. But no, Bonaparte I landed on in the end. Stuart Kendrick, Brody Loy again. Comes out of that same race. For My Annie was in, but it got a mile back that day near last. Hit the line nicely. Goes up 2.5 kilos as well, but it's obviously this is an easier race. Barrier 6 is handy and goes well at Doomben, so we'll just see.
Yeah, well, I'm on Value Street as well here, boys. And I'm not just in Value Street, I'm on Value Island. Because this could be a record, and I spoiled my guns before the show here, Mark. So these two boys know my train of thought, because I had to explain it to them, otherwise I get laughed at on screen again. But it's been crunched. $81 into $71 for overseas. So one of you two have plunged it, mate, and stolen my price. But Lloydie, it'll tie in because it's the ex-Rocky form, which you'd be happy to hear. Absolute superstar up there, which all of them are. Came down here and then last prep, I think, didn't really follow the horse, but they tried to get it up to a 2,000 metre trip, which when you're winning over 1,200 metres every week in Cairns, Rockhampton and Townsville, doesn't really make a lot of sense. Anyway, stable change. Lindsay Hatch has him now. Was starting to warm up there first up at Toowoomba behind Tessark, mate. So I'm glad that you're a bit of a Mark Curry Tessark fan in the previous.
Yeah.
But $71, so I could make a bit stronger of a case than those kind of odds. So
Hamilton Hill won that race too. It ran second at Eagle Farm last week behind Dynamic Duo too, so it was a good run in that no Met wins.
yeah, so there's a bit of form tying in there, and that's the good thing about having a $2 favourite. If you don't want to back it, you'll always get a bit of a price.
You will.
Well, 9 races, boys. That took it out of us. But we need to get it going again because you're right. Uncommon James fever, mate. Lifts us back up. Lloydie, we said the pressure was on at the start of the show. You kick us off. The living, the breathing. Come on, mate.
You're simply the best.
Bets.
You could be in a dead set coma, or you could be living and breathing if you get a slaughter job from barrier 17. But race 7, horse 13. Merrimee for the living breathing. My grandma's favourite numbers are 317, that was the old house. 13, race 7, horse 13, that's 137. There's the omen for you, Robbie. Yep, it'll win. Around the grounds, go to Sydney. It's a big day in Sydney on Saturday at Randwick. And we're going to Race 5, the Show County Quality over 1,200 metres. And rocketing by for David Pfeiffer and Tommy Berry's in there second up. $18. First up run was a ripper. I thought it loomed, it looked like the winner at the top of the straight. Had to carry 59 kilos, and that was, our horse, if we can claim it from Coyne. Easy single, kicked back and won.
Great horse.
Great horse. But he looked fat in condition in the yard. He needed the run. That was his first run since October last year. He drops 5 kilos. He gets out to 1,200. He gets to Randwick where he's won twice. And he's drawn wide in a race with plenty of speed. I think he'll be flying home.
I like it.
Oof. Okay. All right. Well, you didn't go Mugdji as the obvious to get you off the mark. That's all right.
No.
Race 5 for the Beans Bazinga. I'm with the Matthew Smith train, Jimmy Ullman, Darylina Bell up from Sydney with a bit of form around Pizarro at about the 350s. I think it should be winning that race. And Black Booker of mine around the grounds. We head over to Murray Bridge, ladies and gentlemen. In race 7, I've had a bit of an opinion of this horse. It's sort of up and down in its prep, but I'm happy to be with Magic Max in the 7.
Oh, yeah.
So it's I think it had a few decent runs at Caulfield, couldn't get the chocolates. There was a few excuses in those runs, and was fairly poor last start, but I think here, weaker field. I think Kalkani Royale lines up as the favourite in that race, and it was pretty ordinary last start. So I'm happy with Magic Max there.
It was behind Extremely Lucky in that listed race.
Yeah.
It's favourite in a Group 3 in Melbourne.
Yeah, so I think the form line there. It was a pretty ordinary run though as well, to be fair. But I think Magic Max can knock them off there at Murray Bridge. So we're gallivanting all over the country, which is good.
That's great. It is good because that's what we deliver to the mugs, and the must win. Okay, Lloydie, I'm going to give you the window here because I was keen on Night Mariner as the must win, but I'm going to leave that race with your energy, your vibes. Okay, so race 1 for me, Be Water, my friend. Made a bit of a case for it earlier. I think it's a good bet in the first, and then going to Sydney. We're at Randwick. There's an ATM run around every week called Lord Ardmore. It beat this field last start. I don't think there's much difference in him. You got probably Chris Waller first 6 there, to be honest, in that race. So that's probably not a bad shout. Beat Francesco Guardi last start, who did pretty well up here too. Guardi. But yeah, I don't think it can reverse the roles.
My boys in that race actually. What a coma.
Raging Bull, hey?
Bull.
Oh yeah,
I could
memories.
not believe that.
Let's not talk about it.
Lloyd off, gear change.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
Literally, back it in 2 derbies, the Rosehill Guineas, the St. Ledger, not a benchmark 78 in August.
Well, and a couple of quick shout outs. I think you got Boom Nova down at Randwick.
Yep.
And the move, I think I saw in Mooney Valley.
Yep.
So
It's
yeah.
got a run too. It wasn't an emergency, but it's
Alright.
in. Yeah.
Might have to get some comments there, hey? Nah, do it next week after they win. All right, thanks, Mugs.
Cheers.
Cheers, Max.